You know, it was 8 years ago that a young, untested, inexperienced, and virtually unknown freshman senator made great speeches about hope and change. But 8 years later, our debt's more than doubled. America's leadership in the world is completely evaporated. And the country is more polarized than ever in my lifetime. We were promised hope, but it was just talk. And now we need the kind of change that really could get America from hope to higher ground.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome aboard. Thanks for joining the Steve Malzberg Show at its, well, it's not a brand new time anymore, but 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Pacific. And joining us now, I am happy to say, for the first time in quite a while, is Dick Morris, political strategist, Newsmax contributor, and author of Power Grab, Obama's Dangerous Plan for a One-Party Nation. Dick, welcome back, sir.
Well, great to be here, Steve.
Great to have you. Okay, I know you have a column coming out at Newsmax a little bit later today, which talks about Mike Huckabee and his chances to beat Hillary Clinton. So let's take it first, your reaction to Huck throwing his hat in the race.
Well, the one advantage that Huckabee has in facing Clinton is that he's been doing it for, a decade. In Arkansas politics, he broke the power of the Clinton machine. I was his political consultant at the time. And when he first ran for statewide office, they worked like crazy to beat him, spent millions of dollars to bring him down. And he's used to handling that. He's used to the kind of give and take back and forth that goes on with the Clintons. And that's a good thing that he has going for him. The thing that worries me about Mike is that the media keeps treating him as a former preacher. Forget that he was governor for 10 years, forget his great record on education, forget all the great stuff he did as governor. Everything's gone back to a preacher. They're treating him like he's Pat Robertson. But he's a lot more like Scott Walker than he is like Pat Robertson, a governor with a record.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And of course, we could expect the adverse media treatment for any Republican candidate that comes aboard. But of course, to get to beating Hillary, as you alluded to, he's got to win the nomination. Now, we have Carly Fiorina threw her hat in the ring, Ben Carson, who threw his hat in the ring, in addition to the three that were there, and the more to come. So how do you think Mike Huckabee will fare in a very crowded Republican field?
Well, it depends on how he runs. There's a trap that Huckabee fell into, I think, in 2008 when he last ran, which is that he can always get enough evangelical votes to win Iowa, let's say, and to maybe win South Carolina, but not to win Michigan and not to win New Hampshire and not to win any of the other states. And the problem is that if he takes advantage of that sort of labor-saving device and uses that to make the second round and win the early primaries, he ghettoizes himself to a point where nobody will listen to him unless they're in that evangelical ghetto with him, which is about 15% of the Republican Party. What he needs to do is to break free of that ghetto and talk about secular issues like income inequality and run against the Wall Street Republicans, run against the corporatist Republicans, and really stake out ground as the populist, small business, independent Republican that he really is.
All right, Carly Fiorina, to me, she is very interesting. She brings a lot to the table. However, she's lacking a lot when she comes to the table, and she is open to, as I think Chris Wallace might have been the first to frame it, being Romneyed.
Yeah, I was about to use the word Romney. We learned more about the business of Bain Capital than any of us wanted to learn during the 2012 election.
Yeah.
Because Obama harped on it and focused on it, and that was all of his ads. And I don't want to know that much about Hewlett-Packard. I don't want to see one laid-off employee after another talking about their pension and their future. And I also feel that that you really have to have served in public office to be a good president. I've been in the White House, very, very close to a president. There's nothing that prepares you for it. But being CEO of a company in business where you can hire and fire people and all that really is no preparation. Harry Truman said about Eisenhower coming into office, he'll run it like the Army. He'll sit here and say, do this, do that, do this, do that, and nothing will happen, and he won't understand why. Well, the same thing could be said about the CEO of a big company. She's used to ordering and withholding or giving money, hiring or firing. That's not how you run the presidency.
All right, now, Ben Carson. I mean, I think Ben Carson is brilliant. Obviously, he's brilliant. He's smart. He gives a great speech. He's appealing. Of course, they're already trying to tear him down. But I don't know that he has the fire. I don't know that he has the fire in the belly. He's so soft-spoken. How does that affect a candidate?
I mean, he's soporific. He puts you to sleep. I mean, that bedside soothing manner may work on a person facing brain surgery, but it doesn't animate the country. And here again, you know, Steve, I couldn't do brain surgery. What makes him think he can do politics? And I don't much want to learn whether or not he can do politics when he's facing the Muhammad Ali of politics, the Clinton machine. I want at least some wins under his belt, some ring smarts, some street smarts to indicate that he can handle it. And I think it would be a big mistake to nominate an ingenue who's going to try this as his first political career. When you try boxing, you go to Golden Glove, you work your way up, and eventually you fight Muhammad Ali. You step into the round with him in your first fight, you're not going to last a minute.
Luckily, I know what ingenue means. Let's move on to Hillary Clinton now. The Wall Street Journal NBC News poll shows two very interesting things. One, for the former Secretary of State who has Benghazi and Russia and other failures on her plate, foreign policy is ranking high on the minds of voters, even a little bit above the economy at this point. And two, her honesty and trustworthiness is so underwater, only 1/4 of the registered voters they polled believe that Hillary is honest and trustworthy.
Yeah, I mean, how does she expect to win when she has to rely on 1/4 of the country that thinks she's not honest and trustworthy to vote for her to make her 50%? This is incredible, this drop-off, and I think will be very hard for her to overcome. And the second part of what you said is important, too. I think that everybody will more or less agree at this point that Obama's foreign policy has been a fiasco. Now, he may sign that deal with Iran, and that may itself become part of the fiasco. But in any case, of all of the departments of government, the one I would not want to have to succeed Barack Obama is foreign affairs.
Yeah.
That's like the chairman of the Council of Economic Advisors running for president.
How do you think Bill Clinton did with his NBC interview? To me, it was so Clinton-esque, the parsing of the words. I don't believe I did anything against national security. I mean, you know.
Yeah. Well, first of all, I think it was brilliant to do it there. The background photo op of all of those kids and healing and all their enthusiasm and stuff was a perfect photo op. I mean, you couldn't ask for better optics than that, and it was brilliant of him to do that. On the other hand, I found his answers very unconvincing. I'm always shocked, Steve, when I see him live speak for a while, at how little energy he has and how just kind of falling all over his words he is. He looked to me like he'd had a stroke or something.
Well, I hate to say it. I hope he's healthy. Yeah. But he did look tired and you know, a little under the weather. I don't know what to attribute. Dick, we're out of time. I do want to tell people to make sure they can get your copy of the best-selling book, Power Grab, simply by visiting powergrab411.com. Thank you, Dick.
Thanks, Steve.
All right, folks. And we brought back our viewer call-in segment, as you should know by now. And we want you to participate. But we need to reach out to you so you can reach out to us so we can hear from you. You following me? You need to hit us first. Contact us. Email me at this email address. Call Steve at Newsmax.com. Call Steve at Newsmax.com. Tell us how we can reach you. We'll contact you, and then you could be on a segment with me, hopefully. All right? Senator Ron Johnson's next. Don't go away.